Throughout my projects, I've been looking at how observing the everyday can make creative practices more accessible. Dave Trott says creativity is all around us. As we begin to spot it, we see it everywhere. We're all seeing the same world, but artists reinterpret this mundane familiarity into something exciting. It is, perhaps, creatives' jobs to open up this world where we look at the day-to-day differently to, as Will Cordero says, help us see. One of these artists helping us see is Patrick Caulfield, whose fascination for the intricacies of inanimate objects, as he describes it, supports a unique style, slightly abstracting interiors with minimalistic shapes. He mentions Edward Hopper as inspiration, particularly liking his images of cafes and the objects associated with it. Similarly to Hopper and Caulfield, illustrator Trevor Shin documents and distorts life. He uses ink to get across the fragility of a fragmented moment. Like Shin, one of the many reasons I use ink is the fluidity and unexpected nature of it, the lack of pre-planning, letting it stop where it ends up almost as a sense of pausing the moment. Giorgio Morandi also pauses a moment, but through exploring light and tonal subtlety in still lives of simple subjects.
In every Morandi works there is no life, and the houses of the landscape are without windows. The flowers were silk or dry flowers. The palette used just some kind of colors, pastel colors. So there is this absence of life in a way. This idea of fixing a moment.
Michel de Certeau, in the book Practice of Everyday Life, says everyday regulations and surreptitious creativities are merely concealed by the frantic mechanisms and discourses of the observational organisation. Meaning in simpler terms that everyday rules and creative behaviours are hidden by complex and fast systems. Is it by questioning these systems and slowing down that artists notice these subtleties? Is it our role as creatives to show others this hidden world of creativity to make it accessible? Stijn van Happe has taken on this role of slowing down to help designers with their creative inspiration. His publication Blend features a series of textures encouraging a more physical interaction with design. He says Blend is about moving beyond the instant gratification of screens and re-engaging with our senses, later mentioning it's the small, accidental moments that spark these new ideas. If this was aimed at existing creatives, how can we make creativity accessible to those not already surrounded by it? Sol LeWitt, an American artist who played a key role in conceptual art and minimalism, said that his way of questioning the general perception of art as inaccessible was by doing public art projects. David Shrigley spoke about his own public art project, Sidmouth School of Art, on the podcast On Design with Justina Green.
Sidmouth School of Art suggests it's like Glasgow School of Art with a place and students and stuff, but it's really just about designating the town as a kind of a place for learning about art and the arts. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that people with all kinds of difficulties in their life benefit from engaging with the arts. So, I guess people with mental health problems, depression, anxiety, making visual art, making, doing acting, singing, all sorts of stuff is going to help them, which is probably not that surprising. But then there's also lots of people who have like chronic pain conditions who have really benefited.
The well-being benefits of engaging with art is reason enough to promote creativity. The Arts Council England spoke about some of these positive impacts in a document supporting everyday creativity, mentioning identity and community alongside mental health. They also discussed the barriers to it, with the key ones being cost, ideas, inspiration, skills and training. This is where Art Doctors come in, a Leeds-based collective that prescribe art to look at, everyday art activities to do and host workshops. They're breaking down the fear around trying something new, sparking conversations and providing spaces for people to create without these barriers. Back to the book Practice of Everyday Life is the idea that we must disentangle ourselves from the murky intertwining daily behaviours. But these daily behaviours can be a great point of inspiration, especially when looked at from different perspectives. American artist Ed Ruscha does exactly this.
I began to really notice swimming pools and parking lots were two elements of the city that really impressed me. I liked it just for the study of it, and it just kind of like spoke back to me. It had some kind of value to me as to making a work of art.
It is this value of the unexpected that I think is so important when starting any creative process. I wanted to see what was of value to others, the things they chose to focus on in their surroundings, by creating a form and getting people to submit images they had taken. Here are some of their responses. Marcel Duchamp also considers the value of objects by turning them into art pieces of themselves, a collection called the Ready-Mades. He described this as art in service of the mind rather than the eye, and it started to question what art could be, sparking the conceptual art movement. In Solowit's Paragraphs on Conceptual Art, he said successful ideas generally have the appearance of simplicity because they seem inevitable. It's this simplicity I don't think enough people are aware of. They don't realise that not all creative practices require years of teaching and experience. In a series done by We Present, creatives were asked to give a manifesto, their top 10 guides to their creative lives. Christopher Neiman's manifesto said to be less precious about your art, which starts to question perceptions of how art is made, in turn making it more accessible. By not expecting things to turn out perfect, people are usually more open to try new things. I also liked Sir John Hegarty's manifesto, in which he said, everyday beauty is all around you, just look for it. Just by helping them see the everyday, we as creatives can support people finding their own points of inspiration, providing a stepping stone into creative practices.